Right, hello and welcome to our Big Five analysis of Crow Song. So after you watch this and go through this analysis, go ahead and do your own analysis of Corpse Song. Alright, so let's look at the poem first, Crow Song from 1974 by Margaret Atwood. In the arid sun over the field where the corn has rotted and then dried up, you flock and squabble. Not much here for you, my people, but there would be, if. In my austere black uniform, I raised the banner which decreed hope, and which did not succeed, and which is not allowed. Now I must confront the angel who says wind, who tells me to wave any banner that you will follow. For you ignore me, my baffled people. You have been through too many theories, too many stray bullets. Your eyes are gravel, skeptical. In this hard field, you pay attention only to the rhetoric of seed, fruit, stomach, elbow. You have too many leaders, you have too many wars, all of them pompous and small. You resist only when you feel like dressing up. You forget the sane corpses. I know you would like a god to come down and feed you and punish you. That overcoat on sticks is not alive. There are no angels, but the angels of hunger, prehensile and soft as gullets. Watching you, my people, I become cynical. You have defrauded me of hope and left me alone with politics. All right. So let's go through our Big Five analysis. And remember, this is our step 2. We've done our first initial reading with a quick textual analysis. Now we're getting a little bit deeper and we're going into the Big Five. So I'm going to use this little graphic organizer to help organize my analysis and put down my thoughts. So the text name is Crow Song. It's a free verse poem. The author is Margaret Atwood. Our intended audience, I'm saying, is probably university educated, political activist people, US and Canada residents. And because it's Margaret Atwood and she's mostly known for her feminist writing, I'm going to say that the gender is female for this audience. For purpose, I put that it is to inform the audience of the failure of the politics and political leaders. And context is 1974, of course. We've got Cold War and the numerous proxy wars fought through Asia and South America. We've got the Berlin Wall and the Iron Curtain in Europe. And we also have a very real threat of nuclear war and destruction. Moving on to the next question, what content, theme, and message. Content I've written down is a description and an indictment or condemnation of the failure of humanity due to short-sightedness and politics, and we'll come back to that when we look at the stylistic devices and structure. Themes: war, death, tragedy, hopelessness, judgment, and wasted potential. And again, we'll come back to that a little bit when we talk about structure and stylistic devices. And message, I wrote down the political systems and leaders have failed and people have degenerated into disorganization. Now you'll notice that compared to the first reading, we're starting to get a little bit more specific and refining our ideas on themes, message, and content. Going over here to how, tone and mood. Tone, I thought, was disapproving and condemnatory. So remember, tone is the author's attitude or the speaker's attitude towards the content, themes, or the message. And thinking about that, we've got themes connected here and we've got the message here. I felt that the speaker's attitude was very disapproving of humanity and politics in particular, and it was very much a condemnation of the social system at the time. The mood is, remember, what the audience is supposed to feel. And I thought this created a bitter and chaotic mood for the reader, and tragic. Tragic also comes up in the themes because it's almost a tragedy of the human race. let's head over to how structure. Now there's a number of ways we can think about structure, and we're going to go through the key ones for this poem. At the whole text level, it read like a narrative to me. So starting off, we've got in stanza 1, we've got a setting here. Arid sun over the field where the corn has rotted and then dried up. And we've also got the inciting incident, or the problem that is being faced, which is, in this case, famine and the squabbling, which is war. And then we get into some description, which is telling the story of what the crow tried to do and the tragic failing of the crow's people, in this case, humans. And we go through until the end when we get the climax and crisis, looking at, well, we really want someone to come down and save us, but that's not going to happen. And we have the tragic resolution of being defrauded, there's no hope, and left alone with the main force of destruction, or the antagonistic force of politics. So to me it read a little bit like a narrative, or a lot like a narrative. Now let's take a look at the stanza and sentence level, and this is going to start to, we want to try and connect these things over here to the what, the content, theme and message. So our first and last stanza is written in the first person point of view. The middle stanzas are second person, so there's a lot of accusation, judgment going on here. You ignore me. Your eyes are gravel and skeptical. You pay attention only to the seed of fruit, stomach and elbow. You have too many leaders. You have too many wars. So it's this continual accusation and indictment of the audience here, of the human race. We also have a strong ending of condemnation, which really connects to the message of the poem. The last line, left me alone with politics. It's very, very strong and very direct and focused. So that really re-emphasizes the strength of what Attwood is trying to say here. Let's move on to the how, stylistic devices. One of the key stylistic devices is diction. There's word choice with a lot of negative connotations, especially in the first stanza. Attwood gets right to business. She uses words such as arid, rotted, and squabbled, and straight away we can see the connection over here to the tone being disapproving and chaotic, especially I think a chaotic mood at the beginning. It's really a society in dysfunction that she's describing using these words over here. And this word choice continues throughout the poem. Also, there's use of symbols. Of course, the crow being the main symbol, with its description of being in an austere black uniform. Of course, where do we wear black? Well, that's to funerals. So this is a tragic death of a society that had potential but doesn't anymore. And crows also have been used as symbols of death, of darkness, or witchcraft throughout history. And so the crow being the speaker is very significant here. The angels also come up twice. When Attwood first mentions, or when the speaker first mentions angels, let's take a look. Here. So line 13, now I must confront the angel who says when. So that's our first mention of angels. And then down here we get our second mention. There are no angels but the angels of hunger, prehensile and soft as gullet. So these angels are symbolic because angels are usually symbols of forces of good. But as the poem progresses, they very clearly become forces of destruction. which is a possible connection to the idea of fallen angels and tragedy of a society with potential, but that potential is wasted because of really important faults within the society, such as politics and short-sightedness. We get that short-sightedness here from this. You pay only attention to the rhetoric of seed, fruit, stomach, and elbow. So we're just thinking about what's going to make us feel good right now. Also, repetition, especially in stanza 1. If, new line, if. It really sets up the idea of tragedy, because remember, tragedy has to be where the protagonist has the potential to make the right choices and to resolve the story in a positive way. But because of fatal flaws, then the story resolves in tragedy. And that's what's established, set up, first of all, in stanza 1. And as the poem progresses, occurs through the progress and resolves in that tragedy of being left alone with the main force of antagonism, which is the politics. All right, so that's a brief rundown on how to do your Big Five analysis. You'll note that I haven't listed down everything, especially in Stylistic Devices. You don't have to list everything that you see in the poem. You need to choose your top or your most important stylistic devices that help you prove your ideas for the content, theme, and message, and the tone and mood, purpose, and audience as well. You really should focus on the most important ones here and the ones that connect most with yourself. All right, that's it. Your job now is to go on and take a look at Corpse Song and do the same thing. Right. Thanks very much.